Have you ever wondered if moving into a nursing home is truly the safest and most reasonable choice as you grow older? Many people assume it's the ideal place to receive proper care. But what if I told you that this decision comes with hidden dangers? Dangers that very few ever see coming. Risks that don't just affect your finances and health, but also threaten your freedom and dignity. The truth is, there are things nursing homes will never tell you, from the crushing weight of loneliness and the loss of control over your own life, to the feeling of being trapped in a place that was supposed to provide security. Does spending your final years confined within strict routines and emotionless regulations sound like the life you deserve? In this video, we're going to uncover 7 harsh realities of nursing homes, truths that may make you rethink your choices. If you or a loved one are considering this option, don't miss a second of what's coming next, because what you're about to learn could completely change how you view aging and long-term care. Stay with me until the end, because the insights I'm about to share might be the key to safeguarding your independence, your dignity, and the wealth you've worked a lifetime to build. Now let's begin with the first eye-opening truth, one that might just shock you. 1. Financial burden. Have you ever wondered how much it actually costs to live in a nursing home? Many people don't realize the true price until they or their loved ones need one, and by then, it's often too late. While nursing homes provide meals, medical care, and assistance with daily activities, the cost can be overwhelmingly high. The average cost of living in a nursing home can range from several $1,000s per month to over $100,000 per year in certain areas. What's even more concerning is that many people mistakenly believe that Medicare will cover these expenses. The reality? Medicare only pays for short-term rehabilitation stays. It does not cover long-term care. This leaves most seniors paying out of pocket until they qualify for Medicaid, which often requires them to spend down nearly all their assets before receiving assistance. But that's not the end of it. Nursing homes come with hidden fees that most people aren't aware of. Private rooms, special dietary needs, physical therapy, and even basic personal care items. All of these extras can quickly add up. Families often don't realize just how expensive these additional costs are until they're faced with shockingly high bills that far exceed what they originally expected. And if a resident requires specialized medical attention or extra services, the total cost can skyrocket, sometimes doubling in an instant. Beyond the financial strain, another harsh reality is the loss of financial control. In many cases, once a senior moves into a nursing home, they may be deemed incapable of managing their own finances. If that happens, financial decisions, including how their savings are spent, may fall under the control of the facility itself or a court-appointed guardian. This means that even money they worked a lifetime to earn and save could be spent without their direct say, leaving many seniors feeling powerless over their own financial future. Take the story of Mr. Bowie, for example. At 80 years old, he had carefully planned his retirement finances, ensuring he had enough savings to live comfortably. But just 1 year after moving into a nursing home, his savings drained at an alarming rate. The costs of additional medical care, therapy sessions, and unexpected service charges ate through nearly half of his life savings. By the time he realized how much money was disappearing, he had very few options left. This is why understanding the financial risks of nursing homes is critical before making a decision. Alternative options such as in-home care, assisted living, or shared housing with a caregiver can offer the same level of support at a fraction of the cost. Because once your savings are gone, there's no getting them back. 2. The unseen loneliness and depression. Many people assume that moving into a nursing home will help seniors feel less lonely because they'll be surrounded by others of the same age. But in reality, Many elderly individuals experience a deeper sense of isolation and loneliness than ever before when placed in an unfamiliar and restrictive environment. Living within cold, unfamiliar walls and following rigid daily routines, it's not easy to form genuine connections. Group activities, though offered, often feel superficial and fail to replace the deep, meaningful relationships seniors once had. Sharing a room with strangers, having little privacy, and struggling to find people with common interests can lead to chronic loneliness and long-term depression. One of the biggest contributors to this loneliness is the growing distance from family. At first, most seniors believe that their loved ones will visit frequently, but over time, the visits become less frequent. Busy schedules, long distances, and the assumption that nursing home staff are providing sufficient care all contribute to a gradual emotional disconnect. While phone calls and video chats might help, nothing can replace the warmth of a hug or the comfort of face-to-face conversations. Beyond the lack of social interaction, leaving behind a familiar home filled with memories can be a psychological shock. Simple routines, sitting on the balcony with a cup of tea, taking a morning stroll around the neighborhood, or chatting with longtime neighbors, are suddenly gone. Without these daily comforts, many seniors feel as if they've lost a significant part of their identity and purpose. Take Mrs. Bianca, for example. At 78, she had a strong network of friends, a supportive church group, and neighbors who regularly checked in on her. But after moving into a nursing home, she felt like an outsider in her own life. Group activities followed a rigid schedule, but lacked the genuine warmth and connection she was used to. As the long afternoons dragged on, she found herself sitting alone, reminiscing about the home she once loved and the laughter-filled moments she used to cherish. Loneliness doesn't just affect mental well-being. It also has serious consequences on physical health. Studies have shown that prolonged social isolation increases the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even a shorter lifespan. The absence of deep, meaningful relationships acts like a slow poison, gradually eroding a senior's will to live. If you or a loved one are considering a nursing home, think carefully about the emotional and social impact. Sometimes options like in-home care, living with family, or joining senior social clubs can provide a much-needed sense of connection and purpose. Because at the end of the day, what seniors need most isn't just medical care. It's love, belonging, and the feeling of still being a part of something meaningful. 3. Declining physical health. When people think of nursing homes, they often imagine a safe environment with attentive medical care. But what many don't realize is that this very setting can accelerate physical decline rather than prevent it. While nursing homes do have nurses and doctors on site, the combination of a sedentary lifestyle and inadequate nutrition can slowly erode a senior's health in ways they never expected. One of the biggest factors contributing to physical deterioration is lack of movement. In nursing homes, seniors are often bound by rigid schedules, spending most of their day either sitting in wheelchairs or lying in bed. Unlike at home, where they could move around freely, doing household chores, running errands, or simply taking a walk, nursing home residents experience a sharp decline in mobility. Over time, this lack of activity leads to muscle loss, joint stiffness, and weakened balance, increasing the risk of falls and serious injuries. But physical inactivity is just one part of the problem. Poor nutrition in nursing homes is another serious concern. Meals are often designed for efficiency over individual health needs, meaning many seniors don't receive the proper nutrients their bodies require. Some facilities rely on processed, high-sodium, and low-protein foods, which can lead to fatigue, weakened immune systems, and increased risk of chronic illnesses like diabetes and heart disease. Without adequate nourishment, the body struggles to heal, recover, and maintain strength. To make matters worse, not all nursing homes provide effective exercise programs. While some offer group activities, they are often generic and not personalized to address specific mobility and strength concerns. Activities like gentle walking, yoga, and strength-building exercises, which are crucial for maintaining physical independence, are rarely prioritized. Without these, seniors may rapidly lose their ability to move independently, making even basic tasks like standing up or walking a few steps feel like impossible challenges. Take Mr. Abel, for example. At 82, he was active and independent, cooking his own meals and taking daily walks. But after moving into a nursing home following a minor surgery, he quickly lost his strength. The bland meals didn't meet his nutritional needs, and spending most of his time in a wheelchair led to significant muscle loss. In just a few months, he lost nearly 5 kilograms and found that even standing up from a chair made him feel weak and dizzy. The less he moved, the weaker he became, creating a vicious cycle of physical decline that was hard to escape. There's no denying that nursing homes provide safety and medical supervision, but without proper exercise programs and personalized nutrition, seniors can experience a rapid deterioration in their physical well-being. If you or a loved one are considering a nursing home, make sure to research their fitness and dietary programs thoroughly. In many cases, home care combined with structured exercise and a balanced diet may be a far better option for preserving health and independence. The risk of neglect and abuse. When families decide to place their loved ones in a nursing home, they do so with the hope that they will receive proper care, attention, and dignity. But the reality is not always what they expect. One of the most alarming risks that few people anticipate is the possibility of neglect or even mistreatment. It may sound shocking, but unfortunately, this is a real issue in many elder care facilities. One of the main causes of neglect is severe understaffing. Many nursing homes operate with too few caregivers for too many residents, leaving staff members overworked and stretched thin. As a result, they struggle to provide even the most basic care on time. This leads to long delays in assisting seniors with essential daily tasks such as going to the bathroom, changing clothes, or taking medication. In some cases, elderly residents are left waiting for hours, helpless and uncomfortable, simply because there aren't enough staff members available. But neglect doesn't just happen in physical care. Emotional neglect is just as damaging. Many nursing home residents experience deep loneliness due to minimal social interaction and lack of meaningful engagement. The environment often feels cold and impersonal, with staff only interacting with residents when necessary, rather than forming genuine human connections. This lack of companionship can lead to severe depression and a sense of abandonment, making seniors feel as if they have been forgotten by the world. Even worse, in some nursing homes, mistreatment and abuse occur. While most caregivers are dedicated professionals, cases of verbal, physical, or even financial abuse have been reported in facilities around the world. In a closed-off environment, many incidents go unreported because elderly residents fear retaliation or feel powerless to speak up. Harsh words, ignoring requests for help, or handling residents roughly can leave lasting emotional and physical trauma. Take Mrs. Tabitha, for example. After experiencing a mild stroke, her family thought a nursing home would provide better care. But instead, she found herself waiting for hours just to receive help using the restroom. On one occasion, when she pressed the emergency button due to shortness of breath, it took nearly 30 minutes for a caregiver to respond. Her meals lacked proper nutrition, and the indifference of the staff made her feel even more weak and invisible. Over time, she became more withdrawn, losing her spirit, her energy, and her hope. This is why thorough research is critical before choosing a nursing home. Don't be misled by polished advertisements or first impressions. Instead, take the time to evaluate staff-to-resident ratios, read honest reviews, and even speak directly to current residents about their experiences. No one deserves to spend their final years feeling neglected, lonely, or mistreated. Whenever possible, consider alternative options such as in-home care or living with family, as these may provide a safer and more compassionate environment. Because in the end, true care is not just about medical assistance, it's about dignity, respect, and human connection. 5. Loss of personal freedom. One of the greatest concerns about moving into a nursing home isn't just the cost or the level of care, it's the loss of personal freedom. For many seniors, the sudden shift from an independent lifestyle to a highly structured, rule-driven environment can be a devastating psychological shock. At home, you have the freedom to decide what to eat, when to sleep, when to take a walk, and how to organize your space. But in a nursing home, everything is dictated by a fixed schedule. Meal times, exercise sessions, even designated hours for visits from loved ones. This rigid structure, while meant to provide order, strips away even the simplest choices. Choices that once gave a sense of control and dignity. Beyond the daily routine, the loss of personal autonomy extends to even the smallest decisions. Something as basic as choosing your meals, selecting your clothes, or deciding to go outside requires approval from the staff. For those who have lived independently their entire lives, this level of restriction can feel suffocating, like being trapped in a place that's supposed to ensure safety, but instead enforces control. Constantly having to ask for permission for even the most minor actions can leave many seniors feeling like they are no longer in charge of their own lives. Limited personal space is another major factor in the feeling of lost freedom. Seniors go from living in a spacious home full of memories to a tiny shared room with strangers. The lack of privacy and the inability to personalize their environment only add to the feeling of confinement. When someone can't even decide how their own living space looks, they begin to feel like they are merely a small part of a larger, impersonal system where their individuality no longer matters. Take Mr. Gerald, for example. At 81, he was used to waking up early, making his own coffee and tending to his garden. But once he moved into a nursing home, his entire routine was taken away from him. His morning coffee was replaced by a mandatory group exercise session, and he couldn't even step outside without permission and supervision. Over time, he lost interest in everything because having to ask for approval for even the smallest things made him feel powerless and defeated. This loss of independence doesn't just affect mental health, it also takes away a person's will to live. When seniors no longer feel in control of their own lives, they become passive, disengaged, and completely dependent on others. The inability to make their own decisions strips away a fundamental part of their identity and self-worth. This is why, before deciding on a nursing home, it's crucial to consider how much personal freedom the facility actually allows. Alternatives like in-home care, independent living communities, or living with family can provide the necessary support without stripping away autonomy and dignity. Because in the end, what truly matters isn't just how long you live, but how freely and meaningfully you live. 6. Loss of a familiar environment and personal identity. A home is more than just a place to live. It holds memories, routines, and a deep connection to one's identity. For seniors, leaving behind the home they've spent a lifetime in to move into a nursing home can feel like losing a part of themselves. This loss isn't just emotional, it can deeply affect their mental strength and will to live. Moving into a nursing home means adjusting to a completely unfamiliar environment, where strict schedules and institutional rules replace the comfort and freedom of home. Beloved furniture, cherished family photos, and favorite chairs don't always make it into their small new rooms. Instead, they are met with bare walls, cold furniture, and an impersonal setting that lacks the warmth of familiarity. This abrupt transition often makes seniors feel uprooted, like they've been taken from the place they truly belong and placed somewhere foreign. But it's not just the physical environment. the loss of daily routines can strip away a sense of identity. At home, a day begins with familiar rituals, making a cup of tea, taking a morning walk, or chatting with neighbors. In a nursing home, those routines vanish, replaced by a fixed schedule and activities that may hold no personal meaning. Being unable to do the things they once loved, even the smallest choices in daily life, can make seniors feel like they are fading away, becoming just a shadow of the person they used to be. Sharing space with strangers only adds to the challenge. Not everyone finds it easy to adjust to roommates, shared bathrooms, and unfamiliar faces. The absence of familiar loved ones and personal space often leads seniors to become withdrawn and silent, struggling to form new connections. Many feel like they are surrounded by people yet completely alone, trapped in a space where they no longer feel like themselves. Take Mrs. Shani, for example. After moving into a nursing home, she had to leave behind her small house with the vibrant garden she had nurtured for decades. No longer able to plant flowers with her own hands, no longer able to sit on her balcony knitting in the evening, she felt like a part of her life had been taken away. The tiny room with prearranged furniture didn't feel like home, no matter how much she tried to adjust. Every time she looked out the window, she longed for the colorful garden and the friendly neighbors who once filled her days with warmth. It wasn't just about missing a house. It was about missing the person she was in that home. Losing a familiar environment also means losing a sense of personal identity. At home, Mrs. Hoa was a caring mother, a friendly neighbor, a woman with a passion for gardening. In the nursing home, she became just another name on a chart, another patient in need of care. The hobbies, talents, and small joys that once defined her slowly disappeared, leaving behind a feeling of emptiness and detachment. This is why, when considering a move to a nursing home, it's crucial to think beyond medical care. Maintaining a sense of familiarity and identity is just as important. Options like in-home care, independent senior living communities with personalized spaces, or even living with family can provide necessary support without forcing seniors to give up who they are. Because in the end, a meaningful life isn't just about adding more years, it's about being able to live as your true self in every moment. 7. Loss of control over medical and end-of-life decisions. One of the most unsettling realities of moving into a nursing home isn't just the loss of freedom or emotional isolation. It's losing control over your own medical decisions and end-of-life choices. For many seniors, the inability to decide their own treatments or having to accept procedures they don't want feels like losing a fundamental part of their dignity and autonomy. At home, you can choose your own doctor, decide on treatment plans, and even refuse medications that don't align with your wishes. But in a nursing home, all medical decisions are subject to facility policies and standard protocols, rather than individualized preferences. Doctors and nurses in these facilities care for many patients at once, often making generalized choices based on efficiency rather than personal needs. As a result, many seniors aren't fully consulted before medical procedures are carried out. Or worse, they are forced to accept treatments they never wanted in the first place. Even more concerning, nursing homes often have the power to make critical end-of-life decisions, including do not resuscitate DNR orders and life support protocols. If a resident becomes incapable of making their own choices, the facility can appoint a court-assigned guardian or even make executive decisions on their behalf. This leaves many seniors feeling helpless and abandoned, knowing that their future rests in the hands of people who may not fully understand or respect their wishes. Take Mr. Raymond, for example. At 84, he had carefully prepared for his future, drafting an advance directive stating that he did not want to be placed on life support if his condition became irreversible. But after suffering a minor stroke, he was moved to a nursing home where his medical choices were no longer his own. When he refused an IV drip, believing his body was naturally shutting down, the staff overrode his decision, insisting that it was mandatory protocol. The realization that he had lost control over his own body broke his spirit, leaving him feeling powerless and hopeless. Beyond medical autonomy, the loss of control often extends to financial matters. In many cases, if a resident is deemed mentally unfit to manage their finances, the nursing home may petition for a court-appointed financial guardian. This means that all financial decisions, bill payments, personal purchases, and even how their life savings are used are taken out of their hands. Many seniors find themselves trapped, unable to access their own money or make decisions about their own financial future. This double imprisonment, both physically and financially, can be devastating. Lack of close family involvement makes the situation even worse. Seniors who don't have a trusted legal representative often have no choice but to accept the nursing home's decisions, even if they completely contradict their personal desires. Feeling isolated, powerless, and without an advocate, many residents feel like they have become just another number in a system that doesn't truly care about them. After exploring the hidden risks of moving into a nursing home, from financial burdens and loneliness to declining health, loss of freedom, and identity, you may now realize that this decision is far more complex than it seems. While nursing homes offer safety and medical assistance, they also come with significant challenges that can reduce a senior's quality of life and independence. The most important thing to remember is that you still have options. Alternatives like in-home care with family or professional caregivers, independent senior living communities with flexible support services, or hiring part-time caregivers can provide more personalized care with fewer risks. Each choice comes with its own pros and cons, but what matters most is that they allow seniors to maintain their freedom, identity, and the warmth of familiar surroundings. If you or a loved one are considering long-term care, take the time to research thoroughly and create a well-thought-out plan. Don't hesitate to ask questions, read honest reviews, and, most importantly, listen to what the senior truly wants. No one deserves to spend their final years feeling isolated, controlled, or stripped of their identity. At the end of the day, life isn't just about adding years. It's about making those years meaningful. Don't let a lack of preparation force you or your loved ones into a situation filled with regret. Start planning now, because your future depends on the choices you make today. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more valuable content. And remember, you have the power to choose a life that is both fulfilling and dignified, even in old age.